Well, here we are, Season 1, Episode 1 of our journey into the life of Bob Marley. It's 1979, and a relatively unknown journalist by the name of Chris Salovich flew down to Jamaica to interview Bob. He would spend the next 3 weeks on the tiny island of Jamaica, following and interviewing Bob everywhere he went. Chris records in his book, Bob Marley, Untold Story, that after arriving in Jamaica and enjoying a night's sleep, he got up early the next morning and headed out to Hope Road, which is where Bob lived. After arriving, Chris quickly realized that Bob was nowhere to be found. Bob eventually pulled into the courtyard in his famous BMW 5 Series. Both Bob and Chris introduced themselves with a firm handshake and exchanged pleasantries. Chris informed Bob that he was a journalist and had visited Jamaica a year earlier, where he wrote a piece on the Jamaican music scene. With the awkwardness of small talk put aside, Bob invited Chris to join him in a ride. Being excited and somewhat surprised, Chris agreed. He had no idea that Bob was about to take him to one of Jamaica's toughest locations, Gun Court Prison. Gun Court Prison, also known as Up Park Camp, is a significant correctional facility located in South Road in Kingston. It was built in response to the escalating gun violence and crime rates on the island. The prison was built in 1974 under the authority of Prime Minister Michael Manley, who implemented the Emergency Measures Act to combat the gun crisis. The prison was nicknamed Stallgate 17, which was a movie that was filmed in 1953 based on U.S. servicemen that were imprisoned in a Nazi war camp that housed over 40,000 prisoners. Once they reached the prison, Bob immediately got to work and started talking with the guards. We really don't know what was said, but within a few short minutes, the gates were opened and they both went in. Both Bob and Chris were quickly escorted to the governor's office, where Bob tried reasoning with the governor for a retrial of a Michael Bernard, who was a young man in his early 20s that was convicted for a politically motivated shooting. All those who knew Michael agreed that he could never or would never commit such a crime. The conversation between Bob and the governor was quick, to the point, very respectful on both parties. But after a few minutes, 20 or so, of jousting, the conversation came to a quick end. Nothing was resolved. It would have seemed that this was a waste of time, as there would not be a retrial for Michael Bernard. Thanking the governor for taking the time to see him, Bob turned to Michael, said a few words to him, and then left. I believe that Bob may have had a pure motive in visiting Michael, and that was to give him hope. Can you imagine being Michael and having Bob, a mega superstar, visit you in jail? Not only visit you, but plead for your innocence with the governor. That's pretty remarkable. With Bob gone, Michael had no choice but to go back to prison life. It would have seemed that all was lost for him, and that his trip, Bob's trip to the gun court, was an absolute waste of time. Fortunately, though, for Michael Bernard, this was not the end of the story. A few years later, in 1983, Michael was released from prison, a free man. Sadly, at this time, Bob had passed away and wasn't able to see the fruits of his labor come to pass. It amazes me knowing that Bob, who was a mega superstar, a man that was and still is larger than life, actually took the time to visit Michael. Now, I might be wrong in saying this, but in today's world, I believe there's very few artists who would have done what Bob did. And if they did, it would have been done for a photo op, or splattered all over their social media. Not Bob. Not Bob. Bob did what he believed was right, with no need of cameras or a spotlight. To me, this is one of the things that makes Bob a great man. Hey, if you're a Bob Marley fan, then I believe that you have found your new favorite channel. FYI, this is just a taste of what type of content I will be releasing the next year. So stay tuned for the next 25 episodes as we delve into the history and the life of Bob Marley. Oh, we've come to the end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to my channel and giving it a thumbs up. Sharing this video would be greatly appreciated as well. Seriously value your feedback, so please leave a comment in the comment section and follow me on my socials. Hey, you know what? No one's perfect. If I got something wrong and you think that I did, leave a comment in the comment section with your sources. Sources are important. All right, that's it. Take care of yourselves, show kindness to those in need, and live in peace with those around you. Until next time, stay well.